over 60 years, Kirby Morgan has revolutionized commercial diving. From masks to helmets and everything in between. Dive into history with us as we step into the Dive Locker. (1975) SuperLite 17.
This is kind of interesting because I've never really talked a lot about the 17, but it goes way back.
In 1975, Kirby Morgan introduced the SuperLite 17, a helmet that would change an industry and become the standard for commercial diving.
Bob Kirby did the initial mold, I think, to build these. He would go home on a weekend and then come in on Monday, and he'd have a mold, and he'd weld up all the jigs and the fixtures to make them all. When I first started, I was working on the Kirby 16. There's a couple pictures of me sitting there with those, and we did like 10 at a time, and they were labor intense, and they were a really good helmet to dive, but they had too many pieces to them. The divers just didn't like it. I'm recalling everything that went on with all this. The fiberglass shop started not with this helmet. It was the Kirby 16 that we started the fiberglass shop with. And it was one guy, Tom Prothero, that set that up. I helped him set it up, but he was the guy that did all the laminating. And I think he did the majority of the first ones. Bob Kirby and Bev weren't involved with getting their hands sticky with the production stuff, with prototype stuff for sure. And then I started working with Tom, and it was just the two of us making these shells. So there's a possibility that either one of these was done by myself, but it's kind of scary to think about. It was that long ago.
Building on that experience, the SuperLite 17 combined the best features of earlier helmets into a single design, quickly gaining acceptance across the commercial, military, and scientific diving communities.
I think that's the thing that made it take off. Was 16 was good, but they complained about it, all the pieces, and then when we came out with this, everybody jumped all over it. It took about probably 2 years to really go.
Two main versions were initially produced, the 17A and the 17B. In the 17A configuration, the air supply entered from the front or below the diver. In the 17B, the supply was routed from behind and over the shoulder. Over time, divers strongly preferred the over-the-shoulder configuration, and the 17B eventually became the preferred model.
When we offered both, the numbers of the B were way higher than the A, so the A started to fade, and then nobody bought A's, everybody bought B's, and then we just stopped making the A. But that probably took 20 years to do, maybe longer than that. When we first came out with these, they were a complete helmet. They had everything on it, but they were all U.S. Divers components. And at some point, U.S. Divers went, hey, we're not going to sell you Regulators anymore because you're building stuff to compete with us. So they cut us off on Regulators, and that's when Bob Kirby met with a company down in L.A. to have molds made, tooling made to make the parts, and then we started silver brazing them together in our shop.
The SuperLite 17 was designed around two primary components, the neck dam and yoke system, and the helmet shell itself. The shell was constructed from hand-laid fiberglass and fitted with brass and stainless steel components.
The shells haven't changed. I'm sure we've made new molds between then and now, but they're pretty much all the same. The laminating schedule is all the same. The individual layers haven't changed the way they're put in. The resin, of course, has changed a little bit, only because of environmental stuff, what they'll allow us to use. But basically, the helmet is the same as it was back then. Just techniques of putting it all together. The clamp on this is original. I think it's an original clamp, but the locking mechanism was really simple and not very effective. You can see that there's nothing really to lock it in place. It was just an over-center device that would catch the bail on the neck clamp and sort of hold it in place. So the next thing was we went to one that had a steeper ramp on it, which we don't have one around, but The one after that was this one here. And it had a push pin on it that when depressed, it would clear the bail and allow the bail to come off. And I thought this one was pretty effective, but they had a couple of incidents where something wasn't adjusted right and the neck clamps came off and people freaked out. So they went ahead and went to the newer system, which had an actual pull pin thing on it with a lock pin. And if you looked at a new one, it's got so much stuff on there. It's completely changed from what the original was.
Inside the helmet, a foam-filled nylon head cushion surrounded the diver's head and upper neck. This design allowed the helmet to attach directly to the diver's head rather than hang from straps or external supports.
The original head cushion was hand-cut foam, charcoal foam, and hand-glued together. And this shell here has remnants of that. You can see where there was a strip that was glued in here. It's been taken out. This one still has a strip. It's a strip of Velcro. And the head cushion had a strip of Velcro on it that grabbed onto that, and it was really effective. It held the head cushion perfectly where it needed to be. And we also had a chin strap that snapped onto the snaps on the front where the weights are. That was about 1.5 inches wide nylon, like a heavy duty webbing. And it had one snap on one side, 3 on the other, the way you have a foundation and you can adjust the position based on the 3 snaps. And that was effective as well. But, and going to this stuff, it was, well, we'll just put everything on the head cushion. We'll put the earphone pockets in there and the chin strap and all that. And it made sense. It made sense at the time, but in my opinion, the older stuff was superior. But the head cushions were just too labor intense to make. I remember we'd do maybe 10 at a time, and it would take 3 days to do 10 of them. Because they're hand stuck together, and then we had seam tape on it. The whole bottom had a wetsuit skin glued to their thing of beauty. They were actually really, really nice, but they were too hard to make. Nowadays, we could probably make them in a mold, just injection mold. But this is easier. Everybody's used to it, and everybody copies it. That's not what we're after, not to let everybody copy our stuff. That's what's happened.
Putting on the helmet was straightforward. The diver first slipped on the neck dam with the attached yoke. With assistance from the surface tender, the helmet was lowered into position, the hinge connected at the rear, and the neck clamp secured. An O-ring seal located at the base of the helmet ensured a tight connection and seal between the helmet and the neck dam, compressing the material evenly so the seal would not loosen during descent. Extensive testing of the SuperLite 17 was conducted by commercial diving companies, the U.S. Navy, and several foreign navies. All tests concluded that the SuperLite 17 surpassed the established standards for diving helmets at the time. The SuperLite 17 became one of the most recognized helmets in the commercial diving world. Reliable, practical, and adaptable, it earned a reputation often compared to the Model A Ford. For more than 25 years, it remained in production, and remarkably, decades later, and to this day, the SuperLite 17 is still in use around the world. This concludes this episode of the Diving into the Kirby Morgan Archives. Stay tuned for the next episode of The Dive Locker.